Every so often I create a video on a topic that is extremely upsetting because it's direct and it's a conversation that has to be had, and most people are just not ready for it. And this is going to be one of those videos. And I'm going to start by saying I am not going to apologize for what I'm about to say because I'm not sorry. It has to be said, and we all have to be accountable to this. So trigger warning for everybody who's not ready to have these kinds of conversations, but even a larger trigger warning to two specific categories. One is unmelanated women. This is going to really get in your feelings. My comment section is not the place for you to come. Find a therapist who can help you decolonize. I'm not her. I'm not them. Go find them. I'm not them. Your journaling will be inadequate in this situation. So find a professional. The other category is religious people, especially unmelanated religious people who do missionary work. I'm really going to offend you, especially Abrahamic religions, but this is a big one. For the last few months, we've been having a lot of conversations in a couple of my different circles, quite a few of them actually. We've been talking about charity work, and there's always this conversation where it always ends up with, it just doesn't sit right with me. And I've been literally ruminating on this for months. And it just hit me while I'm processing peas from the garden. The language to identify the feeling, but also to express the thought. Seeing as the topic is charity or philanthropy, whatever the fuck that word is. Now I'm going to start first by saying that, sorry, interruption. I'm going to first start by saying that in this space, missionary work is an act of colonialism and violence. It is not seen in any other way. It is a full string quartet, okay? And your feelings about it is not my responsibility. And let me be very clear that missionary work does not only apply to Christians. The next levels are just general donating of time or energy to a charity, and then you have the full self-sacrificing to charity work. Okay? I'm going to say something very honest here. There is no such thing as charity. I can get into that in another video, but there is no such thing as charity. That does not exist. Okay? Get that language out of your mouth. That's where we're starting this conversation. Now, for those of us who hold privilege on the backs of people who are being forced or coerced, which is also forced, to give us everything so that we hold such privilege, okay? It doesn't matter to me if you create an organization. It doesn't matter to me if you donate large funds. It doesn't matter to me if you give time. And it doesn't even matter to me if you dedicate your entire life, money, energy, everything to this cause. It is inauthentic. Feelings hurting. Wait. There are ways in which it could be authentic, but for the vast majority of you, it is inauthentic. And we're going to talk about that. But you need to take a deep breath. So you should pause this video right here and take a few deep breaths before we continue if you are actually dismantling and decolonizing. Welcome back. Systemically, if you have any form of privilege, it means you got that privilege by stealing the rights of someone else. And so here is where the equation begins, because violins can only be canceled out by violins. You need the full orchestra quartets, okay? Sorry, string quartets. And the reason being is, okay, If you privilege from the system and you are not actively sacrificing everything you have to dismantle it, then you're inauthentic. Then you really just have bad feelings that you're trying to cope with. Because the fact is, you can sit here and say, do what you can, do what you can. Oh, financial risks, I can, I can't do that. Okay, that's okay. No, it's actually, I'm going to say it, it's not okay. It's not okay. And I will tell you why. Because you are actively benefiting from people losing all of their rights and even their lives due to a system that continues to give you the comforts and privileges and, dare I say, even some luxuries, like fucking running water, like a gas tank full of oil, even if you can't afford it, like your engagement and wedding rings, like the phone you are watching me from. So if they are coerced and or forced into sacrificing everything, including their life, okay, you only signing a petition or only speaking up when it's safe, or just, doing participating within the confines of respectability politics, you doing that is just a performance. It is a performance. Because you don't want to look bad. Whether that is to others or to yourself so you don't feel bad, you don't want to see yourself in that way. For the same reason that we can criticize you for doing something and you're willing to listen until we say that is acceptable because it's racism. And then you don't want that label. Same reason why they've recently found that men will admit to grape as long as you don't actually use the word graping. Okay? You don't want the label. You don't want the shame because you've been taught that shame is bad and mistakes are bad and doing the wrong thing is bad rather than learning from it. And so instead of improving yourself, you continue to do the same things over and over and you try to do them differently so you don't get in trouble because you can't think in another way. So here is an opportunity for you to think in another way because that's what decolonizing is. It's thinking differently. It's looking at things from a lens that you cannot perceive without pushing yourself to. And no, I don't believe that not everyone is capable of it. I think everyone is capable of it. It's still a performance. Even if it's for yourself so you feel better, like you paid part of your dues when really you just scrape the surface on 1% of the reparations that you personally owe, if even that, I'm going to be very honest. And I'm also going to be honest that we all owe reparations, including myself. Every one of us, stolen people on stolen land, or living people on stolen land, or abandoned people on stolen land, or coerced people on stolen land, every one of us owes reparations. And also all of you in the empire, kingdom, centers, whatever, the actual colonizers, whether on the mainland or the stolen land, it doesn't matter. We know that you owe reparations, but this includes us as well. And we all need to sit in the discomfort of that. If you thinking and protecting your family is all that you owe, you don't. You owe the protection of community, of humanity, of all earthlings, really, because it's all interconnected. And your life is part of that system. And if you're not operating within that system, then you don't deserve recognition, even if you're just putting a Band-Aid to make yourself feel better or look better, however it is that you see it. And to me, that also applies to religious-based donations and charities of all religions. Because the fact that you have privilege is because you exist in a system that you privilege from and you're not dismantling it. And at that point, you should be asking yourself why. Why you're upholding it and why you're keeping it alive. Sit in that discomfort.